Hello Beauty on Fleek School viewers. In this video, you are going to watch a presentation on reducing risk and why it's important as a beauty professional to have liability insurance. Face it, accidents happen in the salon and spa settings. So we're going to go through why it's important for you to have liability insurance. Reducing risk. This topic may not be exciting, but it's the real world and something you may not think about until an accident actually happens. We're going to discuss the importance of protecting your career and your clients. This presentation is presented by Beauty on Fleek School about liability insurance. The PowerPoint is by Associated Skincare Professionals. In this presentation, we will discuss real-life stories of injuries to clients, the 3 types of liability insurance needed in the beauty industry to be truly protected, the steps to take if a client is injured, the top 10 ways to reduce risk to clients, employer coverage and what you need to know, and we'll discuss the differences in insurance because not all liability insurance coverage is the same. You may be asking yourself, do beauty professionals even really injure clients? Yes, accidents happen and clients sue. Some claims are minor, such as a product reaction, and other claims can be major lawsuits that drag on for a long time and often cost thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars. So what treatment do you think is the riskiest? In other words, what service represents the most claims? If you guess waxing, you're correct. If you think about it, it makes sense. Waxing is an excellent moneymaker. It's a fast, high-profit service that's great for add-ons and almost always guarantees regular booked visits from a consistent client. Waxing claims can be minor, but they can also be major, with lifting and tearing of the skin that results in scarring. And I'm sure you can all use your imaginations to think about which areas might be considered some of the most painful and undesirable to have skin tearing and scarring. This chart illustrates the category with the highest number of claims at Associated Skincare Professionals. As you can see, there are a lot of areas where mistakes can be made. Hair removal, 22%, facials, 17%, chemical peels, 15%, slip and falls, trips, 12%, lashes and brows, 10%, advanced procedures, 7%, steamer burns, 4%, extractions, 3%, and all others at 10%. So let's talk about liability insurance. What is it? What does it do? Why is it important? Liability insurance is an insurance policy that protects you when you are being sued or being held legally liable for claims of negligence resulting from damage or injury to a person or property. Simply put, you've been negligent in some type of way at work and it resulted in injury to a client or damaged their property in some way. There are 3 types of liability insurance that you want to be sure are included with your policy: professional liability, product liability, and general liability. So what is professional liability? Coverage for when a client has been injured during a service you performed. For example, burns during a wax or scarring and pigmentation issues from a chemical peel. This could also include device malfunctions such as steam or spitting scalding hot water and burning a client. What is product liability? Coverage for when a client has suffered an allergic reaction caused by a product used on them or sold to them for at-home use. An example of this is a client who experiences skin irritation from overusing the retinol serum you retail to them, or an allergic reaction to the pumpkin mask you used on them during treatment. What is general liability? Coverage for when a client was injured during a slip and fall on your property or sustained damage to their property. For example, a client may slip as they got off the treatment bed or trip on a rug and sprain their ankle. Another example could even be wax dripping on their clothes. Let's do a quick story time of one of the most expensive claims ever reported to Associated Skincare professionals. In this incident, the client was new and seeing the esthetician for the first time. The client told the esthetician she had sensitive skin because she suffered from rosacea and had visited a dermatologist because it was difficult for her to find products on the market that would cause her skin to react. She said she even had a reaction to lipstick. The esthetician noticed the client's cheeks and chin were a little red and swollen, and her skin appeared to be dry. According to the esthetician, there was no intake form information form completed by the client. The esthetician gave the client a chemical peel. During the treatment, the esthetician noticed that the client was reacting to the product, but thought the reaction seemed typical for someone who has rosacea. However, the client said her skin was burning, so the esthetician removed the peel, applied a calming product, and advised the client to stay out of the sun, noting that her skin might peel a bit and that it was normal. The esthetician noted that her skin looked warm but not red. The next day, the client called the esthetician and said her face was still very red. The esthetician stayed in touch for several weeks with the client and reported that the client seemed fine. Later that year, the esthetician received a letter from an attorney alleging that the esthetician negligently burned the client's face during the treatment. Enclosed photos were severe burns on the client's face, and the client was hospitalized for several days while the burns were treated. To make a long story short, initial demands escalated when the client alleged that the chemical makeup of her burn to her skin had permanently changed after the service, and she was continuing to experience flare-ups. However, there were no permanent scarring. After a long process of claim investigation and unsuccessful mediation, the client went to trial. The jury ruled in favor of the client and awarded a large amount in damages, plus attorney's fees. Litigation lasted for more than 5 years. The final cost between court fees, motions, mediation, attorney fees on both sides, and the payout to the client was $1.2 million. Think about it. That's your car, your house, your future car, your future house, your business, all of your assets gone. There are 3 very important lessons here, and I bet you can guess what they are. 1. Always complete a consultation and consent form. It might not stop someone from suing you, but it could keep help in your defense in court. 2. Know your products and protocols and never perform an active treatment on a first-time client, especially one with rosacea or sensitive skin. 3. Always perform a patch test, especially on someone with sensitive skin who is known to react. These lessons learned will not only protect you, but will keep your clients safe as well. The esthetician found the process unsettling and did not renew her membership policy after the client complaint was made. Nonetheless, the insurance company paid every dime of the settlement, even though the legal process took 5 years. Let's have another story time. During this incident, the esthetician was performing a Brazilian wax for her client, who was preparing to leave town with her significant other. As it happens, the client had a piercing in the area to be waxed, but this was of no concern to the client and the esthetician, who did her best to work around the piercing. Unfortunately, the esthetician was not careful enough, and the piercing was ripped out of the skin when she pulled one of the wax strips. The good news was that the client had no discomfort or bleeding, and she said she was fine. The esthetician was able to finish the Brazilian wax, and the client paid and left. Guess what? 2 weeks later, the esthetician received a letter of representation from a lawyer indicating that the client had to get medical care and was seeking to recoup the medical cost as well as damages for pain and suffering because her trip with her significant other had been ruined. The claim was settled out for court for over $200,000. Activity to affirm understanding. What type of claim is this? Is it general, professional, or product liability? Professional liability. The client was injured during the service performed. Sometimes things just go wrong no matter how careful you are, but these are the top 10 ways to reduce risk to your client and protect your career. 1. Maintain a safe work environment. Document regular safety checks. Inspect your tables and anything that supports your clients. Keep the floor clean of potential hazards or obstacles. Maintain fire extinguishers. Keep up spills immediately. Sanitize, sanitize, sanitize. 2. Routinely check heat sources. Unplug any heat sources. Use battery-operated candles. Are all your electric cords in good condition? Know how and when to use your fire extinguisher. 3. Intake, health history, and waiver forms. Always have clients complete a health history form before any treatment, even if they're your friend and you feel confident that you already know their history. Verbally review all forms with your client to be sure you both understand what is being described or reported. Always use consent forms. This instills a sense of responsibility in the mind of the client. 4. Always discuss potential risk or contraindications. I encourage you to document and date what you discuss with your client. Follow suggested protocols for products. Get proper training. Performing a patch test on your client is always a good idea. If you're performing a new service or using a new product that may have more aggravated results. 5. Keep accurate records. Document each treatment given and which products were being used. Refer to this prior to your client's arrival. Keep notes on every client visit. Keep client records for 5 to 7 years in the event of a late filed claim. 6. Always use caution when applying heat. This includes steamers, waxing, paraffins, chemical peels, hot stones, towel warmers, anything that can cause the skin to burn. 7. Post-treatment precaution. Instruct your clients carefully on what they should expect and what they should and shouldn't do once they leave your treatment room. Provide both written and verbal instructions. And again, document your instructions. 8. Build strong and professional relationships with your clients. Strong, communicative relationships with your clients may prevent a client from suing you. Set realistic expectations for each treatment and build a treatment plan. Ensure privacy through professionalism. Never gossip about personal matters or others in the spa with your clients, or gossip with fellow colleagues about clients. 9. Never practice unsafe procedures. Know your state's scope of practice. States may change or alter scope of practice, so be sure to stay informed. Scope of practice standards and regulations can sometimes be confusing, so if you're unsure, call your state. Never perform unproven treatments or procedures. Make sure you have proper training in all the services you perform and products you use. 10. When in doubt, refer out. If your client asks about a service that you are currently not offering due to your scope of practice or lack of training, direct them to a proper professional who can perform that service. I recommend setting up a referral plan with a small trustworthy group of professionals. This will build trust as the skincare authority while ensuring that your client continues to utilize your services as well. Okay, so let's say you followed the top 10 ways to reduce risk and an incident still happens. No one intends to injure a client, but if the worst happens, here are the steps you should take. 1. Know what to do before an incident. 2. Always stay calm, and your client will too. 3. Assess any injuries. Seek medical treatment immediately if warranted. 4. Do not offer to pay for medical expenses. 5. Never admit fault or liability. 6. Take photos. 7. Document the incident in writing. 8. Contact your insurance company. 9. Follow up with your client unless directed otherwise by your insurance company. 10. Never get angry or be defensive. Now, some of you may work for someone else when you get your license. So let's talk about employer coverage. Never assume you are covered by your employer while the employer is covered. The individual esthetician or nail tech may not be. 4 questions to ask your employer. These are the 4 very important questions you should ask your employer to ensure you have complete coverage that protects you as an individual. Remember, your employer's coverage is not going to cover you if you're practicing outside of your employer's domain. If you plan to treat family and friends, make sure they are coming to see you at your place of business. Ask your employers, 1. Am I covered if my client sues me individually? An employer's insurance policy protects the business and its owner in the event they are sued. But if you are also named by your client in a lawsuit and the employer's policy doesn't provide coverage for you, the individual esthetician or nail tech may not have coverage. 2. Does the employer's policy cover every treatment I'm performing? Many traditional insurance companies like State Farm or Allstate really don't understand aesthetics. Especially services such as Brazilian waxing, laser, or chemical peels that can be excluded or covered at a very high premium. You might end up doing a service several times a day and not be covered. 3. Is the employer's policy current? Do they renew their policy on time? Bills can get lost in the mail, we can lose track of time, and a lot can happen. We're human, and we're busy people. But if your employer doesn't renew the policy on time and you have an incident with a client during that time period lapse, you may not be covered. 4. Are you covered everywhere you work? If you do any work outside the place of business, your employer's policy is not going to cover you. Their policy will only cover you for incidents that happen while you're working under their roof. Peace of mind is having your own insurance, so you know when you're protected. If you find a company is charging very little for insurance, be careful. Not all insurance is created equal, and you don't want to cut corners when it comes to protecting yourself or your career. Most of the cheaper companies can knock their own prices down because they offer what's called shared coverage. What this means is that you're sharing your policy amount with everyone who has had the same policy. That would mean instead of saving that $1 billion coverage for a full year just for you, it will be split between everyone who has also purchased that policy. I just told you about one claim for one esthetician that cost over $1 million. So if you're the unlucky one that opt for cheaper shared coverage and you have a claim at the end of the year, it's possible that the insurance company might say, sorry, we're all out of money. Other policyholders beat you to it and use it all up. There will be nothing you could do about it because you agreed to a shared coverage insurance policy. If you have individual coverage, that $1 million policy is all yours all year long and shared with no one. Also, if you ask if the policy is a claims-made policy or occurrence-form policy, claims-made coverage only provides coverage for claims made while the policy is active. If a claim is made after the policy has expired, even if the incident occurred during the policy period, the insured coverage may not be covered. It is essential to renew claims-made policies to ensure coverage for incidents that may result in future claims. With occurrence form coverage, The policy protects the insured for any incident that occurs during the policy period, regardless of when the claim is filed. Even if the policy is no longer active when a claim is made for the incident that occurred during the period, the insurance is still covered. The liability insurance included with Associated Skincare Professionals and Nail Professionals membership is occurrence form coverage, providing protection against late filed claims. This can be confusing, so let me give you an illustration so the difference between these two will make more sense. In April, your client trips and falls in your treatment room. She gets up, everything seems okay, and she leaves. It's now July, and you're taking a break from your skincare business for family reasons, and you do not renew your liability insurance policy. Summer comes and goes and holidays are over. Now it's January of a new year. Your client, the one who fell last year in your treatment room, sends you a demand letter and is suing you for injuries that resulted from her fall. You had forgotten all about her, but she is within the statute of limitations set by law and can legally sue you for the injury. If you had occurrence from form coverage, you are protected because the incident occurred while your policy was in place. If you had claims made coverage, you might not be protected because you didn't have insurance when the claim was made. Face it, clients get hurt and really do sue. Make sure you protect yourself and your career. Part of being a true professional is making sure that you have the right insurance coverage to protect you and your client. Beauty on Fleek School partners with Associated Skincare Professionals and Associated Nail Professionals for the right liability insurance. Click the link in the description below and apply for your insurance. Or give them a call and mention Beauty on Fleek School using our code 1810945. This company covers massage professionals, skincare professionals, hair professionals, and nail professionals. As a valuable friend and colleague, I want to introduce you to my family of professional associations and give you the opportunity to gain access to the same support, education, resources, discounts, and liability insurance I enjoy as a member. Visit their website, use our referral code 1810945 to find the association that's right for you. Whether you're a massage therapist, body worker, esthetician, hairstylist, nail professional, insurance coverage is vital.